Hello everybody, this is Jahadan, douchebag FC that doesn't want you to shoot blues anymore. So we're going to run through a real quick overview primer. So I'm going to prepare to undock here, and hopefully there are no reds in the system. But if there are, I'll be right outside the station, so I'm not particularly worried about it. The basic thing everybody needs to know is that there are many different overviews that you should have all the time. Many people also do not utilize the tabs on their system. This primer is going to show you how both to utilize those tabs and create an overview that does or does not show the things that you need. So the first thing you're going to need to do is go ahead and open up your overview settings. You'll notice that I already have a preset here called Logi Support. Well, what I'm going to do is go ahead and start from the base. So everybody should have a base overview. The base overview can be whatever you want, but most importantly, it should be something that's easily recognizable for you and for other people. A lot of the times people create a cookie cutter or a base overview that simply has all of the ships shown and shows all pilots. Then they can customize it as needed. So what I'm going to show you how to do is just create a base overview that shows all ships and all standings, but nothing else. So I'm going to go ahead and start off by clicking deselect all. And then I'm going to click on the ship button, and I'm going to select all the ships in here, minus the rookie ships and those weird experimental space things. I don't even care what they're called. So this is a little tedious and obnoxious, but it needs to be done. After you're done with this, you can contact CCP and let them know they're douchebags. Oh, there's the one I don't want, for forcing you to go through and click on all these stupid fucking buttons. Okay, now that that's done, you're going to want to go over to states. States is an important one because it actually designates what states you're going to see in your overview. So for your base overview, what you're going to want to do is make sure all these are selected. Remember, this is a base. It's not your fleet overview. It's not your logistics or your recon or EWAR overview. So now that you see this, it's going to show me any ships with every standing that show up right now. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and save this first. And I'm going to save this overview as base overview. Now, base overview for me shows all ships and all standings but nothing else. I'm going to go ahead and open the overview settings, and in this case I only want to show negative people, so I'm going to turn off agents. I don't really care about the security status. I do care about them having bad standing. Bounty does not make a difference, and I don't want to show excellent or neutral standings. No standing is very similar, but it's alright. Terrible standing is the same as bad standing. Don't care if they're an outlaw. I do care if they're at war with me, but I don't care about any of the rest of this. Alliance, militia, or Rex. So now I have an overview that's set up very similar to my PvP base fleet overview. Remember, I just created a base overview, which is here, but I have a base fleet overview. If you go ahead and look at this, it will be identical to the one that I just showed you. Now all this does is disables showing anybody in your fleet, so you can only see negative targets. I call this my base fleet overview. Now, say for example, you're a logistics person, and all you want to do is show ships that are friendly to you, so you don't want to show any negatives necessarily. We're going to go ahead and set up for that. I've got a Logi support thing here, and you'll see that it shows excellent, good, shouldn't show bad standing, that was wrong, Alliance, Corporation, Fleet, and Militia. Everything else is hidden from me because pilot being an outlaw, interactable, or security status is not important to me. I just want to know what's in my fleet. So right now I'm showing good, excellent, in my Alliance, Corp, Fleet, or Militia. This is my Logi support. So I'm going to go ahead and save this again so that it's right. And it'll prompt me to tell me I want to rewrite over it. Okay, so what else can you do? Let's take a peek at this. So the appearance, for one, is something that you can change if you need to. It's really your choice. It's not particularly important. I use the base. Columns is where it starts to get important. Icons are not that useful. They're not really required. You can pretty much see everything you need, and you know if it's a Stargate or if it's some sort of station by the name. So really and honestly, the icons are just taking up portions of your overview you don't need. Additionally, things that are useful are the type of ship that you're flying towards or against, the tag, if there is a tag, the velocity, and their radial velocity. Those are important things, as well as the name and, of course, distance, because you can't kill something if it's too close or too far away. Alright, so what I have shown is distance, name, type, tag, velocity, and radial velocity. I have that shown in all of my overviews. Alright, the next thing that's important is, yeah, this isn't important and either is MISC, overview tabs. So overview tabs are really useful because what you can do is you can set these things up so you can very quickly flip through them. For example, I've got my base overview. Well, my base overview shows, let's go, base fleet overview, there we go. Shows a station in the second one. I'll close that because it's going to want to make an edit to it. And that's all that it ends up showing in that one. So if I go to fleet PvP and I go to station, you can actually see the stations that show up there if I hadn't gone through and partially screwed it up by messing with this stuff. So I don't want that to be base. What I want that to do is show fleet gate station. So I go ahead and do that, check it apply, and it shows all the stations and stuff. So this way, even when I'm flying in a fleet, I can very quickly switch to something where I need to align to a station. You can also make ones that show planets, moons, other celestial objects, and it's very simple. You simply go up to the top, create an open overview settings, go to the filters and things, turn on types, and go ahead and, like in this instance, I show stations, and I also show stargates, which is, I think that's planetary, no, orbitals maybe. Well, now I feel stupid. But that's not uncommon for me. Well, yes, somewhere in here. It's probably celestial. Ah, there it is, Stargate. I knew it was there somewhere. Okay, but just like that, you can also show bombs, different things like that, drones, entities, orbitals in any of the areas, planetary interaction. You can take your pick. If you just want us to stations or something else, you can make your own planetary or moon object of some sort. So set celestial, and you can also set planets so that it now shows planets. Now, what is the use in planets? Well, maybe, for example, you want planet warping. So what you do is you go ahead and you save this overview as planet. Now, I'm not going to use planet necessarily, but what I want to do is go to the planet overview, and I'll change this guy when I go to Fleet PvP. In my auxiliary tab, I can add an additional overview tab. So I'll go over to this one, say planet, station, and I'll go down here and choose planet. So now that I've picked planet, it will show up. So I say apply. Now planet station allows me to see all of the planets and stations. Now the important thing is that you get your correct PvP base setup. Okay. Additionally, I would suggest getting a tab that shows stations. Auxiliary is whatever you can choose to it. So for this case, I use it for my E-War enemy. Station is planet, and I'm going to change that again back to station instead of planet. Come on, there we go. Okay, so that's now Fleet PvP, and now all it does is shows the stations and stargates. Now I can very easily rotate between these and decide when I need to. In this case, Ox is enemy E-War, so it only shows E-War ships, and by that I mean if I go look at it, it only shows people capable of sending the type of E-War that I need to watch out for. So when I select ships, once again, you can see that battleships, Black Ops, combat recons, covert ops, and cruisers, as well as electronic, elite, and force recon. Industrial command ship doesn't really need to be in there. Interceptors and interdictors I leave in because they're stronger, and stealth bombers I want to watch for bombs. Strategic cruisers as well. So I've got this guy saved, and I'll resave it as E-War. And now I have an E-War setup that only shows ships that will be in types of E-War. And so if you need to jam people out, having one like this is very important because it can primary the type of people you need and then very quickly switch back to the base when they're either dead or you need to get something else. So this has been a primer. You can go ahead and ask anybody if you need or if you have questions, but hopefully this has provided you with a base overview. If you need to, go back to the very beginning and watch the base overview again. But I expect you not to blow up blues at this point because if I see another one of you fuckers do it, I'm going to pod you myself.